Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the new Nike Lebron Soldier 14. So of course, everyone knows the LeBron Soldier line. This is kind of like LeBron's takedown line, but not really. It's still kind of premium. It still has a little bit of tech in it. And if you guys have been following this line, it's of course famous for having straps. And I believe like from this LeBron Soldier 8, maybe even the 7, it's always had a strap, but for some reason there's no strap on the 14. This shoe is going for 140 bucks, so pretty expensive. That's usually the price of Soldiers, you know, 140 bucks. I believe it's been at like 140 bucks for the past few years. So if you guys do want to get it, I'll leave a link in the description box. There's this colorway. You can customize this shoe on Nike ID for $20 more. So for 160 bucks, you can customize it and you can do like a really cool gradient here on this plastic piece. So I did an entire video on that, so if you guys want to go check it out. But let's get it started off with the traction. So in this colorway, the rubber is actually semi-translucent, and the outsole pattern actually reminds me a lot of the LeBron 17. It's a herringbone pattern, but it looks kind of like a net. And it pretty much runs perpendicular to lateral movements, which is good. If you're doing a lateral movement, you want the rubber to hold up, especially when you're doing like a step back or a really hard crossover, right? And then here in the midfoot is basically just a straight line. And then in the heel, we have a solid blue outsole, and it kind of looks like stairs or something, right? So the traction, trying it on my wood floors, it actually has no squeak at all. It's a very, very silent traction pattern, it seems like right now. It might get a little bit more squeaky once you break it in. We'll have to see on that. But the bites seem pretty good. Just because there's a loud squeak doesn't mean it's going to perform well. You know, there are plenty of shoes that don't have a lot of squeak, but you know, have a really, really good bite. For example, like the Curry 7s. But for me personally, I just like to have a little bit of squeak in my shoes. You know what I'm saying? As far as the hardness of the rubber goes, it's actually pretty damn soft. And it reminds me a little bit of the LeBron 17, like I said, but even a little bit softer than that, you know? So I don't think it's going to be durable for outdoor use. Of course, I'm gonna be playing in this outdoors, so we'll have to see on that. Now, I feel like it's gonna like rip off and actually tear some of the rubber. And then if you look at this shoe, it is pretty interesting. So on the medial side, you can see the rubber comes up a little bit, and there is a little bit of an outsole curvature. Of course, nothing crazy like Kyrie's, so you can kind of roll onto the ball of your foot and also get a little bit more grip when you're doing these types of movements. So I actually really like how they added that in the LeBron Soldier 14. Like in the LeBron 17, you don't really have that as much, right? I guess it comes up just a little bit, but if you do this type of movement, it pretty much slides out, you know? So that's a nice little addition to the LeBron Soldier 14. Moving on to the heel to toe transition, it's actually very, very smooth. I guess it's just something LeBron really, really likes to have, is that rocking motion, right? So if you look in the heel, you have this very, very nice curved shape. And it is a little caged, and we'll get into that in cushion, but this curved shape really helps this rocking motion. And not only that, but in the forefoot, this is just insane. It curves up like a lot. And when you walk, it just really wants to rock here into the forefoot. It just like keeps you on your toes. It reminds me a lot of the LeBron 16s where it also did that. And it feels really, really nice. There is a little bit of forefoot flex though, but it's not a huge deal because this does curve up like crazy. All right, moving on to the cushioning system. So the cushioning system has me a little confused. So it just says full length foam on the Nike tech specs, right? So it's like, okay, just full length foam. Yeah, obviously, right? But then if you look here on the outsole, you can see the tech specs, and it says Nike Zoom Air forefoot. The zoom is 10 millimeters and the heel is 13 millimeters, and then Cushlon. And I was like, Cushlon, really? That's pretty surprising because it doesn't feel anything like Cushlon, you know, like Cushlon in runners. It's super nice in the running shoes, but this feels nothing like Cushlon, and it's super stiff. There's absolutely no compression from the heel, and like I said, the rubber does come up here into the back of the heel, and it cages the back of the heel, so you don't really get any type of compression in the back of the heel, which is something that I like to feel usually. And not only that, but on the lateral side, you have this plastic cage, which pretty much doesn't allow the cushioning to compress at all, which is a good thing. You don't really want the cushion to compress here on the lateral side, but it really doesn't matter because this foam is very, very stiff. But as far as the zoom units go, the heel zoom unit is bottom loaded, and you can see the zoom unit through this window from the bottom of the shoe. And then the forefoot is actually top loaded. and it's a pretty thick zoom unit. You know, 10 millimeters is actually pretty damn thick, and I can actually feel the zoom unit. It's nice, it's bouncy, it feels pretty large, maybe slightly bigger than like the 4-foot zoom units that you find in like the PG2 or the PG3. Like you can kind of see the outline of the zoom unit, like if you look on the bottom of the shoe, and it says zoom here in the 4-foot. So I really like the feeling of that 4-foot zoom unit, but everything else pretty much feels you know, like the foam and the zoom unit and the heel. But you know, you do feel low to the ground, and I feel like impact protection is going to be okay. And also another nice thing about the shoe is the insole. The insole, they're using an Ortholite insole, and it's pretty thick. It makes the step-in comfort very comfortable. And as far as the graphic goes, there is like a dog tag, and it says LeBron James, Akron, and like some numbers. Alright, moving on to the materials. They're basically using a woven material. It looks a little bit like ballistic nylon. And it's a pretty big weave, you know. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, baskets that are made from like plants, you know. But anyways, yeah, like in the toe area, basically throughout the entire upper, this material is super thin. And I really like how minimal it feels on foot. It doesn't feel like there's any type of stretch from this material. It feels very supportive, but it moves with the movement of your foot because it is so thin. So I really like that. And then here on the lateral side, in the midfoot area, you have a little bit of fuse, probably for a little bit more support on lateral movements. And then here on the medial side, you have like this very well ventilated mesh, which I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of ventilation because there is an underlaying material. I don't really know why they added that. And then here in the ankle area, it kind of looks like this strap with this red stripe, but it's not. It's kind of just like a design. It's more just a fused material. And then on the lateral side, in the ankle area, you have an embroidered swoosh. And then on the medial side, the swoosh is on the midsole, and it's a backward swoosh. And then as far as this midfoot section goes, here where the tongue's supposed to be, I actually kind of like it. So it's a one booty upper, and it had me confused a lot because when the Nike ID came out for this shoe, the tech specs came out with that as well, and it said it was a fast fit system. And I was like, where's the fast fit system? And it also said it was laceless. So I was like, okay, like there's laces and you can customize the color of the laces. So why is it saying it's laceless, you know? And you know, it's not. It has laces, and I like the system, but I don't, right? So the laces are covered by the shroud material, and it's a pretty stretchy material. I actually like it. And then underneath that, basically where the inner booty is, it's a stretchy neoprene material with a lot of ventilation holes, which I think will help with ventilation a little bit. But I feel like them separating these two parts was a mistake because it's really difficult to put your fingers in, basically because there's more eyelets here, like underneath this shroud, and you kind of have to like dig your fingers in to tighten it up, and it's just annoying. I don't like to do that. I feel like they should have kept it a little bit more open. So tightening here in the midfoot area and on top of the tongue is a little bit difficult. There is this lace lock, and it has a picture of a lion on it. And basically all you do, it's actually pretty cool. So basically what you do is you pull the laces and then you tighten it as tight as you want. And then you just tighten over this lace lock, which is pretty easy to do. One thing I will say though, is that there's not a lot of padding on this inner booty neoprene material. So when you tighten the laces, you can feel the laces tighten on your foot. And it doesn't feel very good. It kind of hurts. You know, if you really crank it down, you can definitely feel it, and it hurts. So just watch out for that, but we'll get into fit. Like you don't really have to tighten the laces all too much. And then here in the ankle area, you have a very large Achilles pillow, and that feels very nice. It locks your heel down, and you get a little bit more cushion, a little bit more comfort where your Achilles is. As far as the fit goes, I went true to size, and it fits my foot like a glove. So as far as the toe space goes, there's really no toe space. It's very snug, and I don't think this material is going to stretch out like all too much. This material feels very supportive. Lengthwise, I was good. My toe was pretty much right at the edge, and then here in the midfoot, it felt very nice. Like this neoprene material kind of like stretches over your foot when you put on the shoe. So I really like the feeling of that. And then width-wise, I would say it's slightly narrow. So if you have a wide foot or you like to have a roomier fit, I would suggest going up half a size or maybe even a full size, because it's a very snug fitting shoe. Not only that, but this shoe is very hard to put on. like I said, it's a one booty upper, and this tongue, like this neoprene booty, stretches over your foot, but it doesn't stretch out all too much. So I mean like putting your foot in there is a little difficult. I feel like it's gonna get easier, of course, when you break it in, stuff like that, but as of right now, it's pretty damn difficult, even when there is kind of like this heel tab. All right, support and lockdown, I don't think is going to be an issue at all. Like for lateral containment here in the forefoot, like if you kind of like press on the material here, you can see basically how high your foot is like on top of the cushion, and you can see how much this sidewall comes up here in the forefoot. It comes up a lot. That's gonna cage you for lateral movements. Like I said, you have this fused material in the midfoot, and in the ankle area, you have basically this plastic piece and the foam coming up and an internal TPU heel counter. So lateral containment, I feel like it's gonna be really, really good in the shoe. And not only that, it's kind of like a mid. I would say it's more like a low mid. This material kind of goes over your ankle bone, but like it's pretty flimsy. Look at this. It's a pretty flimsy material, so you don't get like crazy ankle support, I don't think. So I don't think the ankle support is going to be that good in this shoe, but you know, it is a pretty wide base. Like you can see on the lateral side how much the rubber and this plastic piece protrude out. So I feel like lateral stability is going to be good in this shoe as well. All right, as far as the weight goes, I feel like it's gonna be kind of light, or maybe average, like 12.35 ounces. That's actually pretty damn good, you know. You guys wanna see how heavy the LeBron 17, yeah, 15.84 ounces, 16 ounces basically. So LeBron did a good job on shedding off a lot of weight. I feel like he could have gone away with like all of this rubber and stuff, but like the materials and the upper feel very, very minimal. All right, moving on to the aesthetics. I kind of like it. I'm not a huge fan of the smaller swoosh here in the ankle area. I wish they would go back to like the larger swoosh here in the midfoot, but you know, it's not bad. And the overall silhouette's actually really cool. And I like what they can do with this plastic piece on the lateral side. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So for 140 bucks, it's looking pretty good. You know, support seems like it's gonna be very good. But not only that, but it feels like it's gonna be a fast, pretty minimal shoe with that forefoot zoom unit, which is very, very nice. So I'm very excited to play in this shoe. But that about wraps it up for this video. Again, if you guys want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.